Tapes show Madigan's assignments carried out by McClain in corruption case. The case of the ComEd 4 continues today, and while former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan's not on trial this time, he faces trial next year. But it's the four individuals that several are from ComEd, a couple of lobbyists, and a close confidant of Michael McClain that are on trial. That trial started last week. Jury selection happened. They sat the jury and they started with opening statements. And then they got right into testimony from three former state lawmakers, including former state representative and leader Lou Lang. And a lot of the evidence that's been put out there so far is wiretapped audio from phone calls that are between some of these key players. And it's pretty incredible to hear this, and we'll air some of that for you now on WMAY. I'm Greg Bishop. You can always call in live and local at 217-629-7970. You can also email bishoponair@gmail.com. But the headline is, tapes show Madigan's assignments carried out by McClain in corruption case. And this was from evidence that was released Thursday by federal prosecutors, and I'm expecting more such audio evidence. And if you follow me on Facebook, you can see a link to this story at the Center Square where you can actually go and play some of these audio bites yourself and actually listen to the full audio recordings, which in some instances are close to 10 minutes long. But it all circles around former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan. He served in the legislature for 50 years, and for most of that, he served as the Illinois House Speaker for all but 2 years from 1983 to 2021. And in that time, he also amassed the power to be the Democrat Party chair, which controls the campaign spending for the Democrats in the state of Illinois. He was also the chair of the House Democrat Caucus Fund. He was the chair of his own 13th Ward Fund and his own Friends of Mike Madigan Fund. So a lot of money being able to go in and filter through all of these different campaign accounts. But it's long been thought that Madigan had a certain political prowess that allowed him to get certain things done behind the scenes, and we're starting to hear how this played out with the federal filings that have been put forward by prosecutors in the tapes that are being heard in the courtroom for the ComEd 4. And the ComEd 4, of course, involve the former confidant, Mike McClain, who joins with others, including CEO of ComEd, former CEO, Ann Pramaggiore, an ex-ComEd lobbyist, John Hooker, and Jay Doherty, who is the lobbyist and a consultant who once served as chief of the City Club of Chicago. They've all pleaded not guilty. The trial resumes today. But let's go ahead and hear some of this back and forth of the tapes of Mike Madigan and how he is heard giving assignments out and how these assignments ultimately did play out. But again, you can go to the centersquare.com and find these clips where it shows Madigan giving these assignments and those assignments being carried out. So first we go to October 21st of 2018, where McClain is assigned by Madigan to pressure former lawmaker Lou Lang to step down because he was facing a Me Too scandal. If you remember the hashtag Me Too, there were all kinds of accusations being made. Well, there were apparently some accusations being made against Lou Lang, and here's just a little bit of that phone call that federal prosecutors captured of McClain talking to Madigan.
Hi, Mike. Hi, Michael. So I just want to let you know that I sent an email to Lou Lang. He's called me because he's curious about what he's doing with these checks, but he'll be glad to do it, but none of them have really races. So I cleared up all that. And so he said, at the end of the day, you don't need to know about all that chatter, but he's going to send out those checks tomorrow.
Okay. Was he going to mail them to those committees?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
Nope. I just want to let you know.
Now, you've got a phased program with this guy, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I do.
Mike, if you think I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, but I don't see how he continues down there.
Mike, I don't want to talk out of school here, but Heather, when I'm talking to Heather quite a bit about how to move into the dark side. That's what I call lobbying. And so I talked to her a lot. And so I talked to her this week, and she said that there was a woman that wants to, does not want to go public on Lou, but is going to tell Lou that if he ends up being in leadership again, she will go public. And that lady was going to call Lou.
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, that we'll see how he reacts to that, and I'll have Heather follow up to make sure that woman places that call.
Yeah.
But no, I have a phase-in program, and I'm on it.
Yep. Okay. I'll see you this week.
All right, sir. Take care. Bye.
So getting a phone call of Madigan seeming to give that assignment, and you've got the Mike McClain saying that he's going to follow through with this assignment, and he does indeed call Lou Lang, and that call was captured. And this is from November 8th, where McClain called Lou Lang, and here's how that sounded.
Hey, Lou, what have you decided about moving on to another career?
Well, it's always been an option for me, but, I've had my sights set on other things within my current career.
Right.
But I have this thought that you're about to tell me something I need to know.
Well, we know the woman who's threatening that if you're in leadership, she's going to go public. We know that Rich Miller is claiming he's got emails from women and communication between you and women. And I just think it's in your best interest to leave while you're strong and not face all that if you're still a member.
So, based on and all that.
So this is no longer me talking. I'm an agent, somebody that cares deeply about you, who thinks that you really ought to move on.
So that tells me that person is no longer interested in moving me up in leadership, right?
That's right. That's right.
And I would never embarrass him that way, although I must say I do believe that all of that is bullshit.
And there you go. That's Lou Lang talking with Mike McClain. The audio, of course, you can find those clips at www.thecentersquare.com/Illinois, where you can hear even more, and we'll play some more coming up here on WMAY, including Lou Lang talking about this allegation that could come forward, and essentially saying that it's not what somebody else is saying, it's what he refers to Mike Madigan as saying. So we'll get to that coming up here on WMAY, Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop, and you can chime in at 217-629-7970 at any time, 217-629-7970. Stay tuned. It's right here on WMAY. We're hearing the tapes that were recently released by federal prosecutors in the ComEd 4 trial, showing that the inner workings of Madigan's power included giving assignments to Mike McClain, who McClain would then go and carry out, and one that was being highlighted, not necessarily directly related to the ComEd 4 per se, but to, in a way, illustrate the process of an assignment being given, an assignment being carried out, and being reported back to Madigan. But we'll also hear some of the pressure put on some of the younger lieutenants of sorts of Madigan's, what prosecutors called Madigan Enterprise, in ensuring that Madigan was the number one client that people were looking at supporting, not, whether they were lobbying for the Chicago Board of Education or whatever it may have been. So we heard a little bit of the call that McClain was giving to Lou Lang, former leader in the Illinois House, and Lang says that, he's facing these allegations of a woman coming forward with a Me Too claim, but it wasn't the woman that he was worried about.
And I guess this gal is claiming that she's not going public unless you're in leadership.
Well, all right, so that's something I'll have to consider, but more important than what she has to say is what he has to say.
Right.
I hear you.
So Lang not really worried about the woman coming out with information. He's worried about what Madigan has to say. In the era of the Me Too movement, that's pretty incredible. But then it goes on. The documents and the tapes that the federal prosecutors put out late last week, and we're expecting more to come out, had Mike McClain also talking with a younger Madigan aide at the time who was also a turned lobbyist, Craig Willert. And McClain calls Willerts and says that he's got to really focus on who his true client is, and that true client is Mike Madigan. Here's a little bit of that back.
There's a part of me that struggles with seeing, like, sometimes I shill for my friends rather than what's in the best interest of the speaker.
Yeah, and you're going to fight that your whole life. And I finally came at peace with that maybe 20 years ago when I convinced myself that my client is the speaker.
Mm-hmm.
My client is not ComEd. My client is not CBOE. My client is not Walgreens. My client is the speaker. And once you come at, not you, but once a lobbyist comes to peace that that's the client, it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
It is a lot easier.
No, I know.
I think if you can get in your mind, and I know I'm at peace with this 20 years ago, that your client is only Mike Madigan. It's not the Democratic Party. It's not Will Cousineau. It's not anybody that hired you. It's not your mom and dad. The only person you care about is Mike Madigan. And if that's the way you think and that's the way you frame your talking points,
Yeah.
He'll never second guess you.
Yeah.
And that tape went on to say that the client, being Mike Madigan, is all about ensuring that the boss gets his share.
The assignment, and then I carry the message. That's all.
No, I know. And big picture really is, once we should be building capital for the boss, not the other way around. So. Yeah.
It is Springfield's Morning News on WMAY.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Justin Finch. A new